Right, I'm going to go over the best type of model and why. So, the best type of model is the uglier models. Now, you're probably thinking, what the fuck? Obviously, 10 out of 10 is going to make more than a fat chick, right? Well, no, not always. Not in my experience. The reason being is that uglier, fatter, fucking more weirder models have more of a weird fan base and more dedicated fan base, because people that go to OnlyFans are fucking degenerates. They have these strange fetishes that will include fat chicks, disabled chicks, whatever, like models with very clear imperfections, and they're 10 times more likely to spend more money than your average like bloke who works in a building site who just wants to see a bit of 10 out of 10 pussy. And it's just facts. Uglier models will make more money instantly than a 10 out of 10 model going into the market. Now, this is another reason why uglier models will be more successful. It's because the model will be more grateful. The model will have lower expectations than a 10 out of 10 model. If you have a 5 out of 10 model versus a 10 out of 10 model, 10 out of 10 model is going to go into OnlyFans thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to be earning this amount. I'm going to get this amount of fans in this amount of time. They're going to have very high expectations for themselves, whereas a lower class of model will have low expectations. Therefore, they'll be easier to actually show results to. They'll be more grateful for the results. They'll actually take your advice into account, so they probably will end up working harder because you're saying, oh yeah, this and this needs to be done for this and this to happen. And the likelihood is they'll be more likely to do those tasks to make that result happen, and then you'll be able to pull it off and you have no excuse. Simps. If someone has a certain fetish or fantasy or whatever, they're more likely to want to spend more money to fulfill that fantasy. They're fucking weirdos. You want to find an audience which has a very strange fetish, being your ugly or imperfective model. Like, you want to find someone who is a bit uglier, therefore will appeal to a more uglier audience, and they'll spend more money on finding that type of model because that's what they're into. And it's just that anyone can literally find a 10 out of 10 model. You can just Google OnlyFans model and subscribe to a decent OnlyFans page and get decent content for a very cheap price, purely because they're very popular models. They're 10 out of 10. Everyone's attracted to and is into that type of content, so anyone can do that, whereas these ultra simps are not looking for that type of content. Realism. OnlyFans customers are obviously degenerate and sad little cunts, therefore they are not going to believe that they are truly speaking to this Victoria's Secret model on the other end of a screen. They're not going to think, oh yeah, well, they might think it for a second, but they're going to at least have that post-nut clarity of, oh, maybe I was just chatting to some bloke on the end of a phone. Like, they're obviously going to think that because they're gipping little blokes, and they're just going to think, oh yeah, maybe that's not real. Obviously, some of them are fucking retarded, so they might think, yeah, they might think so, but a lot of them will actually come to their senses and be like, yeah, I'm actually gipping blokes. There's no chance this model will be towards me. There's just no chance. Whereas, if you have a 5 out of 10 model, which is a bit more on their scale, they're going to think that this girl is actually into them. They can actually start a relationship with them. Therefore, the real money making commences. So the easiest types of models that I've sort of put together, again, there's so many, this is such a broad scale that I can't really just put into a list, but again, I've managed to do it. So, easiest models, trans models, they absolutely bang, easy to market, Reddit, find all the weirdos. BBW, basically fat chicks, get on that. Fat chicks actually make so much money, it's unreal. The amount of blokes that have fetishes for that type of shit is just nuts. General ugliness, if your chick's just ugly, again, you just get the simps that will flow to that type of chick. So, there you go. Any visual disabilities, this may sound weird and quite disgusting, But for example, if you had like a dwarf, if you had a dwarf model, you'll make serious money. I'm not even going to say too much about it, but for obvious reasons, the amount of degenerates that will be into that type of shit is just unreal. And older models as well, like I'm talking like gilf, like grannies, weird people are into that shit. So get on older models as well. Any of these types of models will just bang. Also, there's more models than this. Don't just look for these, but easiest models to market are actually the uglier models, believe it or not. Whereas if you have an average looking model, she's just gonna be average really. Whereas these lot can bang. So yeah.